Let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra. Walk with me.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Adrian, we got Miguel, we got Jesus, we got Chris F, we got Michael in the chat. Appreciate you guys for being here. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Tuesday before the last game of the season. What a day to be alive. Now, whether you feel like this is a good season because of progress, or you feel like the Cardinals squandered the opportunity of a playoff run, regardless of what it is, 2024 is almost over, and I think a lot of us are excited about 2025 and looking to the future, right? Whether it's with Kyler or without Kyler, whether it's, with Drew Petzing or without Drew Petzing, right? All of us right now are just excited to see what 2025 holds, and hopefully bringing another level of just little light to this Cardinals organization, because boy, oh boy, do we absolutely need it. Appreciate you guys for being here in the chat. Let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, the guys that keep the lights on. BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, huge shout out to the people that jumped on last night on a 10 p.m. stream where people were jumping on and obviously talking about the whole Josh Dobbs potentially versus Kyler Murray Week 18 matchup. So appreciate you guys for jumping on there. It was late. I was tired. I was falling asleep. But appreciate you guys for jumping on. Today, what we're going to be talking about is Marvin Harrison Jr. We're just going to kind of talk a little bit about him because there's been a post that's been kind of floating around the internet about saying Marvin Harrison Jr., is he a bust right now? This post probably came out because of, engagement. People want different opinions out there because, believe it or not, there's some Cardinal fans out there that feel like Marvin Harrison Jr. has not met expectations for them, and especially being that fourth overall pick. So we're going to be diving into Marvin Harrison Jr. and if he's a bust. And then we're also going to be talking about where the Cardinals are at. And if you want the win in Week 18 and where the Cardinals could potentially land in draft picks, right? So like I said, I've already read multiple comments out there saying, I can't believe we're talking about 2025 already and when the season isn't over. Guys, it's done. It's cooked. It's cooked, man. Come on. Like, let's be real with ourselves, right? Like, it's
You lose! Good day, sir!
We were shut down, man, after the Panthers game. I think there was a level of, this season's done, bro. Like, it's done. Like, there's no way, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's done. So, yes, there's one more game I'm going to be watching. There's a lot of faithful Cardinal fans that are still going to be watching too, but I'm not going to lie to you. I got multiple DMs saying that, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with the season, and my Sundays have freed up. So, for what it's worth, here we are. We're still talking about this team, and hopefully we can make the turn and finally, maybe, fingers crossed, we can make the playoffs and talk about some January football next year. So, fingers crossed, that's all we can really hope for. All right, let's get started here, ladies and gentlemen. A couple different things to dive into. Actually, no, we don't. Let's just jump right into it, right? This is going to be the thing that we're going to talk about in the first portion, and I get it, right? You're probably going to say, oh my God, I can't believe we're talking about this. Yes. The reason why we're talking about this is because there is this post floating around. Now, if you're going to actually try to call me out and say, oh, I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bust. No, I don't. I think he's progressing in the direction that he should be. Is there parts to his game that I would love to see a little bit more? Of course, right? Yeah, the aggressiveness, the speed. I would love to see a little bit more, right? But he's 1 year, right? But this is one of the main reasons why we're going to talk about this, is because there's this post floating around here, and I believe it's from FanDuel. So believe it or not, FanDuel is this big company out there that's sports book company that it's probably one of the leading sports book. And of course, when they post something on X, Twitter, or Instagram, or any of their social medias, you got a lot of question marks down or a lot of comments on the bottom. So I was very entertained with reading a lot of these comments on there because, believe it or not, there's some people that don't believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bust per se, but I think he hasn't met their expectations, right? Now, whether those expectations was 1,200, 1,300, 1,500 yards in the rookie year, I think that's where people are kind of at. I don't think anybody really truly feels like he's a bust. Now, there are some people out there that wanted the Cardinals to go a different direction, whether it was trading back um, or getting an offensive lineman or building up the trenches, right? Of course, you have some of those guys talking in terms of, oh, he's not meeting expectations. But at the end of the day, I think Marvin Harrison Jr., just like Jonathan Gannon has said, he's right where he should be. Honestly, like I feel like he's right where he should be. He was placed in here to be wide receiver one in a run heavy offense that is kind of tough to ask for, right? I think at the end of the day, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is right where he should be. Now, this is the other post that they ended up having. Now, look at the stats here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the stats because we're not talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. having like 200, 300 yards or 400 yards, right? We're talking about a guy that's still putting up numbers, right? Believe it or not, still putting up numbers. Now, granted, you also got to keep in mind that, yes, he was the 4th overall pick, but, there was also 2 other wide receivers picked up in the top 10. I know Malik Neighbors is really showing out. He's missed a couple games. Brian Thomas Jr. is really showing out. And then Ladd McConkey is also showing out as well. And I believe he was a 2nd-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. But look at the numbers that he's posted here, right? I mean, a lot of people act like he's sitting here with 300, 400 yards in week 17 and heading into week 18, right? But look what he's accomplished in this run-heavy offense, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. this season, 822 receiving yards, 5th among rookies, 57 receptions, 6th among rookies, 110 targets, 4th among rookies, and then 7 TDs, 2nd among rookies. So, at the end of the day, I think it's kind of important to obviously look at what he's accomplished, right? And we're heading into this offseason here pretty soon. But there was also another post here on X/Twitter about him being compared, or not compared, but there was a post out there about, let me see if I can find it here and I can try to see if I can screenshot it. But uh, I think the person who posted it, if I'm incorrect, correct me if I'm wrong here, but where is it here? Let me find it. Oh, here we go. It's from Mark Dalton. I believe he's actually a part of the Cardinals organization. And he ended up putting this out there. Now, let me take a screenshot of this and maybe kind of put this in a little bit of perspective, because you also got to remember that Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have a number 1 wide receiver or any other help. He's supposed to be the help. He's supposed to be the number 1 guy to kind of slot in here in the role that it's pretty tough, right? It's pretty tough to kind of translate to the NFL level, or from the college level to the NFL level. But this is the tweet I was talking about here from Mark Dalton. And I believe that he works for the Cardinals organization, if I'm not mistaken. But he ended up putting this out. Now, this was after week 17, so please keep that in mind. He says, with his 23-yard reception on this drive, Marvin Harrison Jr. is at 808 receiving yards for the season. Now, keep in mind, right now, I believe he's actually over 808, but this is just after that specific catch, right? So right now, Marvin Harrison Jr., per the stats, he's sitting at 822 yards. So keep in mind, this tweet was posted when he made that 23-yard reception in this game versus the Rams, right? So it says Marvin Harrison Jr. has 808 receiving yards for the season. That's the 3rd most in franchise history for a rookie behind Anquan Bolden and Frank Sanders, right? So can he beat Frank Sanders? Maybe. But obviously, a couple people to look into, right? Larry Fitzgerald, being the GOAT that he is, Larry Fitzgerald is number 5 out there at 780. And also keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Anquan Bolden was a rookie the year prior to Larry Fitzgerald, and they were one of the best duos that we've seen in modern, I'm not sure if you call it modern Arizona Cardinals history, but one of the best duos the Cardinals have ever had, or I guess Arizona Cardinals has ever had. So Larry had Anquan Bolden, right, putting crazy numbers out there. And right now, Marvin Harrison Jr., although has flaws to his game, he's Man, he's killing it. He's doing a good job. I think the fourth overall pick has been very, very well put in my mind. You got to give it to him, man. 809 yards at the time that this post was tweeted. I mean, right now he's got 822 yards with 7 touchdowns. So I don't know. I still do think that Marv was the pick at number 4. I'm actually really proud of Monty also for pulling the trigger. Now, yes, has Malik Neighbors looked pretty darn good? Has Brian Thomas looked pretty darn good? And their numbers look very, very good. But honestly, at the end of the day, I think this is still the pick. And if you're going to ask me, do I feel like Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bust? No, he's not a bust. He's not. He's trending and he's doing exactly what he should be doing. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Let me get to Ivan. What's up, Ivan? First super chat of the day. What's up, brother? He says, not meeting expectations does not mean bust. Numbers are one thing. Sorry, numbers are one thing, but we visually see another. He'll be fine with more confidence. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's one thing that I've noticed as well in the comments, because there's a lot of people out there that are saying, it's not the fact that we're calling them busts, right? It's like the expectations weren't met, right? Now, what was my expectations? My expectations was actually 1,100 yards, right? That was my expectations. But being the fact that our offense has looked as bad and clunky all freaking year long, I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes the Cardinals organizations or this Cardinals organization tries to throw somebody in the mix and say, hey, please save us. Please fix us, right? Because we did that with Kyler Murray in 2019. Please fix this organization or save us from this organization. And I also kind of feel like with other first round picks, the Cardinals have done that. But also with Darius Robinson. Now, nobody suspected he was going to have a calf injury that was going to hold him out through the entirety of the season. But the moment that B.J. Ojulari went down, it almost kind of feels like, oh man, we were all hoping that Darius Robinson was going to be this, creme de la creme guy that he only played like 2 or 3 games in the regular season. I still have faith in Darius Robinson myself, but I agree. I think maybe expectations, right? And that's one thing that people, and I think, Ivan, you said this best last time, hope, right? When you have hope, when you have expectations, sometimes it can kind of really bring you down to earth. But I think at the end of the day, he's right where he needs to be. Would I love to see him crack the 1,000-yard mark? Of course I would. Is he going to do it? Probably not. He's sitting at 822 right now. That means he's going to have to go over 180 yards in this game versus the 49ers. And being the fact that our offense is the way that it is and struggling the way that it is consistently, I just don't see it happening. I really don't. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the future of Marvin Harrison Jr. and potentially, obviously, taking up the helm of being wide receiver 1 for us. Now, there's a lot of question marks out there, a lot of kind of things that have been floating around within the last, 2 or 3 days, especially with the comments of Colin Cowherd. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it, it gives us something to talk about, right? So I'm excited, man. Let's see what Marvin Harrison Jr. can do moving forward. And yeah, super, super excited. Jafer, what's up, brother, man? He says, accepting all new fans to the Lions bus. That's funny. My guy Jafer here is a Detroit Lions fan, man. Congratulations, man. Congratulations to your team and your success that the Cardinal fans are trying to replicate, right? Because whenever you're thinking of this Arizona Cardinals organization, we all look to the Lions and say, hey, they did it. Why not us, right? Why not us? So right now, is this the trajectory that Cardinal fans would love to see in terms of like emblem, replicating the Lions rebuild? I mean, to an extent, in terms of the amount of wins that we got. Now, granted, another win could probably be a little bit more ideal, right? To the Lions rebuild, but I think at the end of the day, what Cardinal fans are upset of is the regression that we're seeing at the end of the season, right? So, no, congratulations, man. Hopefully the Lions can go far. That's an organization that I'm probably going to be rooting for whenever I watch the NFL playoffs, because I'm not trying to see anybody in this division win the Super Bowl. I'm not trying to see anybody in this division win the Super Bowl. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I appreciate you, Jay, man. Good luck and the rest of the way. Absolutely. All right. Now let's move on over to this next topic that I want to talk about here. And it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to take up most of the stream, right? I kind of had to get this out of the way. I understand it. You're probably going to be like, oh my God, why are we even talking about this? Well, the biggest reason why is because, there was this post going around, and for some reason people think that he, either a bust or hasn't met expectations or whatever. But the funny thing is, on the same post, you don't know how many comments, man. Look at these posts. It's hilarious because most people are saying Marvin Harrison Jr. Isn't a bust. It's your QB that's a bust. So now people are starting to kind of try to push the needle when it comes down to this Arizona Cardinals organization. At the end of the day, I don't blame man. There's a lot of people really pissed off with the way that this season has ended. So I mean, we can still be 8 wins. We'll see how it all shakes out. But now let's move on. Conversations here. Let's talk about draft pick or win. Now, last night, now I did give you guys some shout outs here for obviously tuning in at like 10:30 at night. There was a lot of people saying, "Why are you going live this late?" It's a good question, man. I was super tired myself. But the storylines of potentially Dobbs versus Kyler had to jump on the waves and obviously talk about it, but don't really want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about what do you guys feel about Week 18, right? Because obviously, if it is Josh Dobbs versus Kyler, then we'll deal with it after, right? Whatever happens after that game. But I could only assume that this Arizona Cardinals organization is going to want to win this game, right? We've heard Jonathan Gannon come out and saying if these guys are healthy enough to play, they're going to play. Like, Jonathan Gannon wants to win games. Like he doesn't care about draft capital like the Arizona Cardinal fans do, right? Because right now where we're sitting at in terms of draft capital, the Arizona Cardinals are sitting at the 14th overall spot, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look here. Here we go. Yeah, the 14th overall spot here in the NFL draft, and we're playing the San Francisco 49ers, which are sitting at the 11th overall spot. But when you're looking at what happens if the Cardinals win or the Cardinals lose, you're going to be finding yourself somewhere around this range, right? Whether it's going to be the 11th through the 17th range. Now, a lot of different things are going to need to happen. Like, let's say, for example, the Cowboys win, right? Let's say, for example, the Colts win, right? Now, of course, if the Cardinals win or lose, it's going to be a deciding factor as to what's going to happen there, right? The people after the Cardinals, like the Miami Dolphins, they're going to want to fight for a playoff spot unless they don't have any more chances. I don't know. I'm not really paying too much attention to the AFC. But, Cincinnati, I know they're going to need to win this game as well. Atlanta, they are kind of neck and neck with the Tampa Bay Bucks, unless they already took the division. But they probably want to fight for something over there, especially with Penix. So this is going to be around the range that where the Cardinals are probably going to fall at, whether it's the 11th or the 17th. Win or lose, this is going to be the range in terms of where we're going to be at. So winning. Right. I know when we talk about winning, do you want to win? A lot of people say, yes, it's for culture. Yes, it's for JG. Yes, it's going to be nice to leave the 2024 season with some sort of win. But I've always kind of attributed the culture talk to if you believe, right? If you believe in this regime, if you believe in the quarterback, if you believe in the offensive coordinator, the defense, if you believe in this team in general, right? Right now, it's kind of a weird spot, right? In terms of me being as an Arizona Cardinal fan, it's kind of a weird spot because I don't even know what I want. Like, I don't like, I'm going to be coasting, right? Because that Los Angeles Rams game, I thought we were going to get blown out. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, is it something where you can kind of have a moral victory? Because we're very good at taking moral victories as Cardinal fans, right? But, we only lost by 4 points. I mean, that's definitely something to hang your hat on. And we were in the last drive with a potential freak, fastball hitting the head of Trey McBride. I know you can either blame McBride for not turning his head over. You could blame Kyler like the announcers did, but not the announcers, but the, Steven Smith, in his post game said he just threw a laser, right? So whatever side you're on, everybody felt, or at least the Cardinals organization and the Cardinals team felt like they're going to win that game, right? So now we're heading into Week 18 at 7-9. The Cardinals have an opportunity to be 8-9, right? Or they have an opportunity to be 7-10, right? At the end of the day, I think the 49ers are going to want to play as well. There's going to be some very, very big news coming, I think today, maybe later on today, unless it already happened, with Brock Purdy, right? Because if Brock Purdy is healthy, then I don't know. It almost kind of feels like you probably need to shut down Purdy anyways, especially like if you have a scare like they had today, right? Oh, sorry, not today, last night. I don't know. You probably want to shut down Brock Purdy. Like, and that's in my personal opinion. Like, he's been dealing with elbow arm issues in terms of like having him not being able to finish off a season or holding him out through games. I almost kind of feel like it's one of those things where it's like you might want to just keep him out, right? So regardless if it's not as bad as people think, like what's the benefits of keeping Purdy out there? Like let's be honest with ourselves. Like what's the benefit of it? Like rest him, right? Let him, let him get ready for next year because there's a lot of big questions out there if he's going to be the franchise guy or not. You don't want to start off, you know, uh, paying him and then him being hurt, right? Or at least making it more hurt. But all signs right now are pointing to it doesn't look good, right? Now, I don't know what that look good doesn't mean. Does it need to take weeks, maybe a couple months for him to get healthy? I mean, at the end of the day, as long as it's not a one that's going to take him like 7, 8, 9 months to get healthy, because then obviously that's going to bleed into the 2025 season. But to me, if I was the 49ers, I would just say, just set him, right? Set him. Now, it does bring a very, very interesting topic here because then you're asking yourself, okay, well, where the Cardinals are going to go, right? The Cardinals are going to want to win this game as well. So, do the Cardinals win their 8th game of the season, right? And, mess up draft pick? Because, like I said, you could be 14 or you're going to be picking somewhere around 11 to 17. Like, that's where you're going to be picking. Like, the drop off is, it could be substantial, right? Just really depending. Like, if you want a wide receiver, right? If you want an edge rusher, right? Those are going to be probably the spot where you might see a run, right? You don't know. You never know what happens in the draft. To me, my mind is you got to go defensive line, right? You got to go ahead and address that defensive line. We got Darius Robinson. I believe it was the 27th or 28th overall pick in the last draft. And, we're seeing flashes, right? Let's see what year 2 can hold here from Darius Robinson. But if you give him a little bit more help, if you actually get people on the defensive line that can be absolute dogs, just like Jared Verse, right? Jared Verse and Braden Fisk for the Rams, they're trending in the direction that they're probably going to be a really, really good duo on the defensive line. Why the Cardinals? Let's do something like that as well, right? Maybe the Cardinals could potentially go after an edge rusher that potentially falls to them, or maybe an interior defensive lineman that falls to them. Somebody that can really, really push the needle and, cause pressure to the opposing side of, or opposing quarterback, right? Now, the question has been asked, would I go after potentially a wide receiver, right? Honestly, I think anything's on the table. Honestly, at one point, I was saying to myself, it's got to be defensive line. Defensive line, whether it's edge or interior, I don't care, right? But now, although to me, I'm still feeling 75, 80%, even 85%, it's got to be defensive line. There's still a little bit of sliver of, let's say, for example, like Emeka Ibuka, right? Let's say he falls, right? And being the fact that he was a teammate of Marvin Harrison Jr. and played for Ohio State, I don't know, it seems pretty interesting, right? The idea of maybe doubling down on a wide receiver, back-to-back years, I'm not mad at it, right? I do like Emeka Ibuka. I think he's a really, really good player. But not only him, maybe if Luther Burton, right? Luther Burton falls as well. Now, he could potentially be an outside guy, but I think right now what people are saying is he's probably going to follow more of a slot type of guy. And he seems to be one of those guys that gets a lot of yak. So that's definitely something that the Cardinals offense is missing. Maybe we're just missing that one piece, right, on the wide receiving core. I like Greg Dortch. I really do. But if the Cardinals can maybe do with an upgrade, I'm not mad at it, right? But right now, it's defensive, like 85% right now, it's defensive line. Like that's where my mind is. But like I said, but if the Cardinals want to do something crazy, they want to feel froggy, yeah, maybe they can take a leap for somebody else, especially if they really, really like a player. So there's that, right? Now, I got my guy Ivan in the chat says pay T. Higgins. I'm not mad at that either. We're going to have so much money this year that if we don't address at least 3 positions with the money that we have, and I mean, you're completely confident and comfortable heading into 2025 with these guys, right? I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to bag on them, Bilal Nichols or Justin Jones, right? I'm not saying those type of players. But with the amount of money that we have, there should be no reason, no excuse why the Cardinals can't get 2 to 3 guys that are going to be, what am I trying to say? Difference makers, right? That's the word. Difference makers, right? If you want to address the wide receiver, let's say they want to upgrade. Maybe they do want to go T. Higgins, right? Maybe they find an edge rusher. I feel like with an edge rusher, you might almost need to have to trade for an edge rusher because the edge rushing class aren't really great, or there are a lot of older guys that, they're probably going to want to get paid maybe a little bit below market, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal, just really depending on where they fall. But I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna get edge rusher in free agency, you almost need to trade for a guy because I don't know. I'm just not really impressed. Well, I mean, there's potentially Josh Sweat, right? That could be a position where the Cardinals can go as well, which I won't be mad at, and reunite him with JG. So that would be kind of cool. But I don't know. I feel like trade would be very, very ideal, like idealistic, I guess the word I'm trying to say, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. If you can address at least 2 or 3 positions with the amount of money that we have, man, I'm just gonna start questioning, man. I'm just gonna start questioning. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Now, like I said before, where the Cardinals could potentially go is endless, right? It's endless. We can do anything. We can do anything. I feel like what's really, really important is making sure that you are going to be able to address 2 or 3 key positions in free agency because you're not building from free agency. Nobody builds from free agency. Free agency is supposed to be where you get that 1 or 2 or heck, maybe even 3 players that are going to be, that's it. That's the deciding factor as to what makes is a good defense to potentially a great defense, right? Because you got those 2 or 3 X factors, either on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball. Because like I said before, you don't build from free agency. You build from the draft. And so far, I like what Monty's doing in the draft, right? Let's get to a couple chats. We got my guy Victor in the chat says, let's re-sign our core guys and find defensive line help. Being in a solid bring in a solid backup QB to compete. Defensive line and linebackers should be the main focus at the I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Honestly, I'm glad that you even threw in the fact that bringing in a backup quarterback. That gets me the job. That gets me like, okay, right? Now we're starting to kind of hear and see people addressing that where my big concerns are, right? Because I'm okay with going into 2025, right, with Kyler Murray. I am. And people don't think that I'm okay with it because I have a lot of rash takes and I have a lot of things that sound negative. But believe it or not, I've never ever once since I've been doing this podcast said trade Kyler Murray. Never have, right? Now, when Colin Cowherd said, hey, I think they might want to move off of him in the offseason, of course it piques your interest, right? Because whenever there's something like that happens, you want to be like, okay, well, let's talk, right? Let's see what could potentially happen. But I never once ever said trade Kyler Murray, ever. All I was been saying this whole time is you got to find a contingency plan. You got to find a backup plan, right? Because you also don't want to find yourself in a situation unless the Cardinals are okay with just being bad in 2025 and then getting themselves a quarterback in 2026, which I don't want to relive another 4-win season. I'm not going to lie to you. I do not want to relive a 4-win season. I really don't. Those things are terrible. You really don't have much to talk about. All you could say is, are they tanking or are they going for it? Like, I'm not trying to live in a world that we're 4 wins again. So that's why I'm like, if you want to bring back Kyler in 2025, I'm cool with it. That's fine. But you need to have some sort of contingency plan. Bring in somebody that's actually going to have a competition with him. And if things don't really work out very well, then we have a backup plan, right? And if things don't work out in 2025, then we know what the resolution is in 2026, right? Then we know where our mind focus is going forward. But also, you can't ignore the fact that Colin Cowherd said probably one of the most genius things I've actually ever heard him say. This might be the best market for a potential move off of Kyler because of how bad this quarterback draft is. You might almost get more this year if the Cardinals decide to move off of him compared to next year, where it seemed to be a better quarterback class next year. So that's one thing that I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, snap. That makes sense, right? That actually makes sense because if you put a team in position to panic, they might overpay, right? But like I said, it's only the intrigue. It's the intrigue of talking about, oh man, that's interesting. But like I said, I never once ever said trade Kyler Murray. My expectations for him is a lot higher than most people. That's all it is. So it almost kind of feels like I hate him, right? To some people. Oh, because I've read multiple comments. Oh, this guy hates Kyler Murray. No, not at all. I don't hate Kyler Murray. I want him to succeed. It's just, of course, when I see something that I don't like, I'm going to call it out. It's just the way that it is. I've been doing that since the beginning of this podcast, right? I've been doing it. Nothing's changed. Same dude, same guy. It's just we had a lot more new subscribers coming in here, and people are, they hear the positive side, especially when you're 6-4, but then they don't know who Mike really is, especially when we're going to another collapse. So welcome. this is me. This is me. So we'll see how the Cardinals decide to handle it. But man, this offseason is going to be exciting. I'm really excited about covering this team in March, covering this team in and obviously the draft, right, in April. It's going to be exciting times. Let's see what we do here in 2025, because although per the numbers, I mean, they are making the right progressive steps, right? But you can't ignore the fact that the Cardinals are 1-5 after the bye week. Like, that's not okay. That's not okay, right? So there's that. The Drew Petzing thing, right? I mentioned this before, and I've been talking about Drew Petzing. One of the main reasons why I don't talk about him as much as probably everybody else does. Like, I don't talk about Drew Petzing very much because I don't feel like his job is really like in danger. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like his job's in danger. Every time I hear him talk, every time I hear JG talk, I don't feel like it. Like, if there was any chance where, like, let's say, for example, the Cardinals got blown out versus the Rams, and let's say they get blown out versus the 49ers, then I'm like, okay, maybe that might happen there, right? Now, do I think Petzing's perfect? No, I don't. I just don't think his job's in danger. I really don't. So, I never did. That's why you don't really hear that come out of my mouth very often. I never felt like his job was ever in danger. So, if the Cardinals do decide to move off of him, okay, well, then the plan to get a new offensive coordinator starts here in Black Monday, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be also live on Black Monday to kind of see what happens throughout the entirety of the NFL, right? There's going to be firings. This coming Monday, if you don't know what it is Black Monday. That's usually the day after the regular season ends where people start kind of getting fired, right? So if the Cardinals do want to pull the trigger, it's probably going to be on Monday. So we're going to be on a Drew Petzing watch, and we're probably going to label it as Drew Petzing watch. But I think at the end of the day, I think he's going to stay, honestly. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I really don't. He's JG's boy. And if we're talking about progress, he's involved in that progress as well. So all I can hope for right now is that the Cardinals are truly going to be evaluating every single position this offseason. That's the only thing I can really hope for as a Cardinal fan. Truly evaluate every single position and figure out, in your opinion, and I'm talking to the Cardinals organization, what you feel like happened after the bye week. Because that's a big mystery, right? I mean, not a big mystery to me, but it's a big mystery right now in terms of what people are trying to figure out, why the Cardinals have not been able to win games after the bye week. So figure it out. Let's see what happens from there. But honestly, I think the future can potentially be bright, right? I don't want to sell a bag of goods, but I think it could potentially be bright as long as the Cardinals can make the right moves this offseason, whether that's free agency or the draft. Because there's some really good draft edge players, really, really good edge players here that could potentially be very, very good for the Cardinals to potentially pick up, right? Now, of course, I've heard somebody out there say trade up for, what is it, Abdul Carter? I think that's his name. Let me just confirm here. I think it's Abdul Carter. Yeah, Abdul Carter. A lot of people reach out and say, "Oh, you got to trade up for him." If you're gonna trade up for him, like you're probably gonna have to be somewhere in the top 5, maybe even like top 6, top 7. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, if they like him that much, but I don't know. Like, is that a Monty Fort move? Like, that's what I always go back to in my mind. Is that a Monty Fort move? I don't know. I mean, we've seen him trade back. We know he loves draft picks, but I mean, I would like Abdul Carter, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that, right? So this next game coming our way versus the 49ers, and although, right, the storylines that could potentially be blown up by the media, slash podcasters, at the end of the day, the season's been done for 2 weeks, so we have to have something, right? We have something to talk about, and right now the that something is potentially seeing Josh Dobbs versus Kyler Murray here in Week 18. We'll see what happens there. We'll see if that comes into fruition. But yeah, this is going to be where we're going to be falling at. Regardless if the Cardinals win or lose, we're going to be somewhere around the lines of 11 through 17. If Cincinnati wins, of course. If Miami wins, of course. Dallas wins or loses, it's going to be a lot of moving pieces in Week 18 to really figure out where the Cardinals are. Obviously, if you lose, you're going to be put back lower. If you win, you might stay. You might stay there, just depending on who wins or who loses. So right now, you're in the middle of the pack when it comes down to the draft. I mean, is that a good spot to be? I mean, I don't know. If you look at the season as progress, then I guess, yeah, it's a good spot to be. If you don't look at this as progress, then you probably don't like it. You probably don't like it. So I'm excited, man. So let me ask you guys this question. Here we go. Yep. Sid Apple says, Micah Williams or Nick Scorton. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, there's some guys, like, if there is, like, let's say, for example, right? Now, I've said this before, like, can the Cardinals be in a good position where we might have a lot of edge players to pick out of at number 14? Potentially, right? Now, a lot of people don't think that Milroe is going to go in the first round. Maybe he might. Maybe there might be a desperate enough team to do so. Now, obviously, Bo Nix, wasn't there like 5 quarterbacks taken in this last draft? Yeah, the first 3, Bo Nix, and then JJ McCarthy. Yeah, those 5 quarterbacks taken in the first, 13 picks. So, like, if 3 quarterbacks get taken, obviously that helps the Cardinals because you can maneuver and figure out who falls to you. So right now, I feel like the Cardinals are in a pretty good spot. Would you rather take an earlier spot? Yeah, I mean, of course. But, I mean, right now, if I look at the people that are in front of us, I don't know. I see the Cowboys going running back. Like, I really do. I see the Cowboys going running back. The Colts, I mean, they I don't know. I mean, wide receiver, maybe not. I was gonna say that maybe a defensive piece or maybe even an offensive lineman. I could see them going that route. San Fran, I always see them go defense. So I'm gonna go that way. I'm gonna say they're gonna get defensive piece. Like, I feel like that's gonna be the way they go. Right? Those are the 3 people in front of us right now. So we might be in a situation where we might have somebody fall to us, right? Now, like my guy in the chat said, Williams or maybe even Scorton. I'm okay with either. You got to upgrade that defensive line, man. You got to upgrade that defensive line. As an Arizona Cardinals, person who covers this team or somebody even that just watches this team, like, right, just casually. If you're just watching this team casually, you can't ignore the fact that this Cardinals organization has a really, really big flaw in this defensive line. Like, you got to upgrade that position. Like, the amount of time that quarterbacks have in the pocket is nuts. Like, people could be sitting back there and making themselves a ham sandwich, even spread some mayonnaise on their damn bread, and then we just can't get back there. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, yeah, defensive line right now is 85% on top of mind for me. Edge, right? Over interior, but I'm not mad at interior. I feel like if we go interior too, that would be as well. That would be great as well for the Cardinals. Anything's on the table, right? I like Emeka Ibuka. I really do. I like Emeka Ibuka. Do I feel like the Cardinals will go that route? Probably not. I like Luther Burton, right? Do I feel like the Cardinals will go that route? Probably not, but anything's on the table, man. Anything's on the table. I think anything will make us excited about 2025, right? Anything will make us excited about 2025. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? Division rival news. Lyle is staying in San Fran. Oh, is that confirmed? Is it? I mean, that's no shock, right? That's no shock. Oh, here we go. Yep. Ian Rappaport came out with a tweet, and I believe he actually retweeted Tim Kawakami. Okay, so sorry, I'm getting stuck up on the name. That doesn't matter. Okay, so the tweet reads this, quote, "They're not going anywhere. Jed York makes it crystal clear on Kyle and John Lynch." So, for what it's worth there, ladies and gentlemen, and I know there's a lot of 49er fans that wanted some sort of change or the whole fire Lyle thing. If you don't know what that means, then you don't follow the NFC West roundtable, and you're missing out on a really, really good show. But yeah, it seems like Kyle Shanahan won't be going anywhere, which makes sense. Like, he is probably one of the best freaking head coaches in the NFC. Like, if you fire him, he's going to have multiple teams knocking on his door. Like, I get the frustration that comes from 49er fans, especially if you haven't actually got that Super Bowl win or Super Bowl ring under your belt. But he's one of the best coaches. Like, you can't deny it, man. You can't deny it. Sean McVay is also up there as well. I mean, Mike McDonald's in his year 1. Don't know how he's going to shake out, but a really, really good start to his rookie head coaching career. And, of course, we got our guy in Jonathan Gannon, which, everybody's still pretty high on Jonathan Gannon. I am too. Or I guess not high, but confident. Comfortable, maybe the better terms is in terms of high. I'm still confident and comfortable with Jonathan Gannon right now, right? But I mean, it's a tough division. It really is. This division is one of the toughest out there now, statistically. Not this year. especially because we allowed the freaking Rams to come out of nowhere, just like that Undertaker meme, right? Where you think Undertaker's dead, and he comes right up and he's like, "Oh, he's back," right? Or when the casket opens up and then the choke slam gets ready to go. That's what the Rams, man. It's just unfortunate. The Cardinals had this season in the palm of their hands. And that's why I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a failure, because you can't start 6-4 and then end the season off at 1-5, right? You can't. Potentially 1-6, potentially 2-5. Like, we don't know how this 49ers game is going to shake out. But what I think I know is that we're probably going to be seeing a backup quarterback versus Kyler Murray in Week 18. Because, honestly, I don't think Brock Purdy should even go. Like, if he's hurt, I don't think it's worth it, man. I don't think it's worth it. Let him rest. I mean, they might do away with Jake Moody for the 49ers. They might do away with him, which makes sense. But for the most part, that's going to be the extent, at least in my opinion. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Crazier things has happened in the NFL. We'll see. We'll have to kind of wait and see how Black Monday ends up shaking out. And if you guys do not know what that is, Black Monday happens every Monday after the regular season ends, right? So for us, Cardinal fans, I don't think we really have much to really pay attention to, other than potentially what a lot of Cardinal fans are clamoring about. And I think there are a lot more Kyler Murray fans that are clamoring about it than actual Cardinal fans. But people want Petzing fired. I honestly can care less. I can care less. If he stays, let's try to run it back. If he doesn't stay, then hey, there goes a search for a new OC, right? That's all I can say on that. Matthew in the chat says, I love JG. Yeah, I mean, JG right now has not done anything to warrant being in the hot seat, right? Now, after year 3, that's going to be a big question out there, right? Because that's what happens when you come down to like these rebuilds, right? And that's why, like, I always say, like, the Cardinals are always, unfortunately, in a constant rebuild, right? But like, when you have a rebuild, like, it sucks as a head coach, because sometimes it takes longer than 3 years. But like, I mean, next year people might be talking about it. Now, obviously, it depends. If the Cardinals can't win more than 5, 6, 7 games, then people might have conversation. I don't know. Right now, I'm confident. I'm comfortable with JG myself. So that's kind of where I am. Victor in the chat says, Gannon is a good head coach, not great. Once you win the division multiple times or go in the Super Bowl, you'll be great. You need to control the division to be great. I have confidence in him for now. Boom. That Victor. That's well said. That's well said. And that's the big difference between, like, yeah, a great head coach and a guy that's, you don't feel like you need to fire him right now, right? Yeah, I think right now Jonathan Gannon is he's good. He's fine. He's good, right? But after year 3, and that's one thing that I've been always talking about, like, Kyler Murray probably most likely is coming back in 2025, right? Jonathan Gannon is tying his career with Kyler, right? But maybe that's what he knew he was doing. Maybe he knew when he was signing for the job for the Cardinals. Maybe he knew that, right? NFL. Jonathan Gannon said it stands for the Not For Long League, right? Not for long. Some people say not fun league, but not for long league. He's aware of it. He knows. So in 2025, because of the contract, he's probably going to have to, unfortunately, tie his career to Kyler Murray. And hopefully he can take the next step, because right now, I've seen multiple Cardinal fans saying, give him one more year, and it's playoffs or bust, right? Because if you're expecting Super Bowl after year 3, that's probably not going to happen. Like, playoffs is an absolute must. And not just playoffs, a playoff win is an absolute must in my mind for the Cardinals next year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All we can hope is hope and pray, fingers crossed, that the Cardinals will be able to do it. But right now, I know there's a lot of Cardinal fans that just don't care. They can care two Fs about this Week 18 game, right? I got my guy Kevin in the chat saying draft pick. So to the question that we have up here, draft pick or the win, my guy Kevin says draft pick. Okay. So if the Cardinals do somehow lose, we'll be somewhere around the 11 range. If they win, then we won't exceed 17. So this is the range that we will be in, win or loss. I know it's a big range. 11 through 17, but If you want Abdul Carter, you got to trade up. That's all I got to say. There's no way this man's going to fall in the top 10. There's just no way. There's just no way, ladies. There's no way. So, uh, we got my guy in the chat saying Black Monday was last week. This is more of a grayish Monday. Well, not today. Today's Tuesday, actually, right? If I'm not mistaken. Today's Tuesday, right? Oh, happy New Year's Eve. I didn't actually tell you guys that earlier. Happy New Year's Eve. Today's Tuesday. But Black Monday is officially next Monday. The day that a lot of head coaches get fired. That's why they call it Black Monday. But today is technically Tuesday. So happy New Year's Eve. Hopefully you guys have fun tonight. I don't know if you guys have any plans. Be safe out there. Don't do anything crazy. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I'm way too old for all that stuff. So I'll be staying indoors and hopefully try to calm my dogs down from these darn fireworks that are going to be lit up. But that's all I got to say. Andrew, what's up, Andrew? Being content with less than 5 is crazy. 0.5 is crazy behavior. So being content with less than 0.5 is crazy behavior. Maybe give me a little bit more, Andrew. Don't super chat. Just give me a little bit more. What do you mean? You mean like 0.5 wins? Is what you're saying? Right? Is that what you're saying? Like wins is what you're talking about? Let me know here, Andrew. Don't super chat. Just let me know in the comments. I'll be looking for your comment. Being content with 0.5 is crazy behavior. I'm assuming you're talking about wins, right? 5 wins, right? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. No. Next year is playoffs or bust, and potentially winning playoffs or bust. So if you think that like the Cardinals, like there's the expectations is going to be through the roof next week. Or sorry, next week. Next year. I'm sorry. Next year. Expectations are so you're going to get angry Mike again. Angry Mike. Okay, 500. Oh, that's what he means. Okay, that makes sense. J for 1. Apparently you guys know a lot better than okay. You're saying next year, right? Next year? Well, I agree. It's playoff or bust to me. It's playoff or bust, so that means you have to be over 500. Usually in a scenario, you most likely would have to be over 500, right? In a scenario where you're going to hit the playoffs. So, no, absolutely. If you're talking about this year, I mean, we had it, man. It was right in our hands. The Cardinals absolutely fumbled, man. They fumbled it. They fumbled the opportunity. Iron with another super chat. What's up, Iron? $2 donation. He says, with staff/offense we have now, no playoffs next year. Okay, so you're not confident in if we bring back Petzing? Is that the question? Are you directly saying Petzing if he comes back? What changes would you like to? I mean, year 3, that's playoffs, baby. That's playoffs. I'm not calling you baby, by the way. I'm just saying, like, it's playoffs, right? It's playoffs. You got to. It's playoffs or bust. If you don't, then rolling of the heads. And here's the thing, too. You got a lot of money, right? You got a lot of money next year. They probably won't spend it all, but they got a lot of money. I'm hoping for the Cardinals to get 2 or 3 solid pieces that most of us can say, let's go, that's such an upgrade, right? Let's go, that's such an upgrade. 2 or 3 solid pieces that can solidify a position going into 2025, and we could all say to ourselves, let's freaking go, right? That's what I'm hoping for. And of course, whatever money else you have, you can bring in depth players, you can bring other people. Like, there are starters, like Sean Murphy-Bunting. Like, actually, not even. I'm actually not a big fan of Sean Murphy-Bunting, but like if the Cardinals were to do something like that, right? Like Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, right? They could still get more players, but I'm looking for 2 or 3 solid pieces this offseason. With the amount of money that we got, there's no excuse, right? There's absolutely no excuse. Here we go. Iron doubling down. He's saying if the same situation we have comes back next year, we'll get the same result. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, to the people that want major change this offseason, I don't blame you. For the people that want to play it safe, I don't blame you either. Like playing it safe is keeping Kyler. Like, that's playing it safe because contract-wise, and sometimes green is, it's not always greener on the other side. Like that freaking that saying out there. So I get both sides of the coin, But to me, I'm just looking for a contingency plan. If Kyler Murray's contract wasn't here and we weren't stuck, I feel like we have more options, right? We have more options. But that doesn't mean that you can't trade away Kyler Murray. Like, I want to be very clear. You can trade away Kyler Murray if this organization wanted to do so. But there is ramifications that come with that, right? Dead money, cap hits, right? There's ramifications that come along with that. So you can still move off of him, contract or not, if you're willing to get a partner, another team that's willing to make that trade. But I mean, all we have right now, Iron, is a hope and a prayer. That's all we got. All we have is a hope and a prayer, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that the Cardinals can get it right. Right? That's all we can hope for. At the end of the day, I don't think Petzing is under the hot seat unless we get blown out in Week 18, and I mean blown out, or unless Josh Dobbs beats Kyler. I think they're going to be rolling with the same. But it's because the expectation is not there. Like, the Cardinal fans that are upset, that want change, they're not really doing anything for that change. They're just waiting. They're just waiting for something to happen. Make the change. Do something, right? Go to State Farm Stadium. Put some signs up, right? Now, is Michael Bidwell going to listen? Probably not. But, I mean, at least you're trying something. At least you're trying to the attempt to do something to make a change within this organization. But, I mean, what's probably going to happen is what's been happening all these years. We're going to put a pretty bow on the season and say we progressed. That's probably what's going to happen. If it doesn't, then, man, they got some cojones. Man, they got some cojones on them. I just don't see this Cardinals organization have cojones. I really don't. I don't think they do. They're not an organization that's creates trends, except for in 2019 when they went back-to-back QBs. Like, that was a trend-setting thing that happened, right? I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I never saw that happening, but it made sense with, obviously, Kyler coming out, and you had Cliff Kingsbury as your head coach. Made sense, right? But the Cardinals, they're more followers, right? They're not alphas. They're betas, right? If you don't know what we're talking, I had my guy on here, Ben Garcia, on a few nights back, and we were talking about that. If you're not called a beta, you're not doing right. Yeah, I've been called beta all the time. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's okay. But here we go, man. It's at the end of the day, we just want the Cardinals to succeed. That's it, man. We just want the Cardinals to succeed. Whoa, here's a name I haven't seen in a very long time. Buchanan. Sheesh. Buchanan. Daryl Washington. That man was good. It's unfortunate he couldn't fix his stuff on the outside of the field or off the field, but I like Daryl Washington, man. I like Daryl Washington a lot. Really, really like Daryl Washington. What's up, Jafer? He says, FYI, if anyone cares, Josh Rosen is now a Horton guy on how that QB class went down. Yeah, no. Are you saying he's the worst QB that got drafted? Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. No, it's that draft class was magical, man. Especially with Sam Darnold, because it was Sam Darnold that's now doing really good things with the Vikings. Baker. Yeah, that draft class was crazy. 2018 draft class. What a freaking... Yeah, let me look at this. Yeah, that Baker, number 1 overall, doing really good in Tampa. Sam Darnold was the 3rd. Josh Allen was the 7th. Cardinals trade up for Josh Rosen at 10. And then Lamar Jackson, like, at the end, right? Man, if the Cardinals just stood put, like, just stay where you were at and just got Lamar Jackson, I don't know, man. Things could have probably been different. Or maybe it couldn't have been. I don't know, man. If you believe in the this team is cursed, then maybe it couldn't be in your eyes. But yeah, there's that. AZ Sports are cursed. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Matthew. Yeah, Matthew. I feel like I'm getting a lot of people on this train, the Jackson Dart train. It depends on what happens in the combine, but being the fact that this draft class isn't great, right? You might have a run at QBs, right? If he has a crazy combine, maybe we're talking about a third or fourth round pick for potentially maybe fourth, but I mean, this QB class is pretty bad, man. I mean, in the eyes of people that evaluate, they're saying this is a bad draft class. But I do remember, like, even like, wasn't the Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, like, wasn't that draft also a bad draft class too? Like, weren't they saying like this is not a good draft class? What year was that? What year was Patrick Mahomes? I remember them saying that that wasn't a good quarterback draft class too. Um, Now, of course, Deshaun Watson started his career off really good, but we all know how it turned out. 2017. So he got drafted in 2017. So Myles Garrett went number 1 overall, still killing it. What quarterbacks went? Mitchell Trubisky. Oh, buddy, that's a name I haven't said that name in a long time. Mitchell Trubisky was the 2nd overall. Mahomes was the 10th. Deshaun was the 12th. And then we got Hassan Reddick. Yeah, I remember people saying that about this draft class, that it was just like one of the worst out there. Like, it wasn't good at all. I don't know if there was a quarterback that came out of 2nd or 3rd round or anything like that. Like, I don't like, this is also the draft class we got Buddha. So for what it's worth, I mean, maybe you can get that one guy, man. Maybe you can. You never know. Can we get defense on the 2025? Yes, we can, and we probably will. Yes, we can, and we probably will, because we need defense for sure. We need some defensive pieces. Absolutely. No more excuses next year. I agree, buddy. I agree. Eric in the chat says, can we all agree that next year is playoffs or bust, or we are going to make excuses? No, I'm not. I mean, my excuses stopped this year. Honestly, my excuses stopped this year. You don't hear excuses from me. I mean, the only other, I guess, excuse, if you want to put on me, is the fact that, like, I'm okay with going with Kyler in 2025, but I don't have faith in him. Like, I don't think he's ever going to win a big game for us. Like, I don't ever think he's going to win a big game. Now, can he shock me, and can he, prove me wrong? Of course, I would love nothing more than to eat crow. But yeah, of course, it's playoff or bust next year. And not even just playoffs, win a freaking playoff game. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Win a playoff game for me next year. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for. So, if you're not getting that anywhere else, you can get that here. I promise you one thing. You will get that here. You will get it here. It's playoff or bust for me next year for sure. Especially if you're rolling it back with Kyler. What's up, Michael? Appreciate you. Says Mike really wants to see Malik as a backup QB. I'm not mad at it, man. Malik Willis, not mad at it. Tyler Huntley, not mad at it. Justin Fields, a lot of people kind of said before, at that time when people were saying Justin Fields, and I believe it was the beginning of this year, I was like, you don't want to start up a quarterback controversy. So I'm like, maybe don't go Justin Fields. But now, at this point, I want to see quarterback competition, like a true quarterback competition. I don't want my franchise quarterback to feel like this is his job and solely his job. Like, I don't want him to feel like he's not going anywhere because this job is promised to you. I want everybody to fight to the bloody end and actually deserve a spot in this final 53, right? So that's what I'm looking for. So competition, whether it's the draft or through free agency, I am looking for some competition next year on the quarterbacks. That's it. Even if it's Kyler Murray, that's what I'm looking for, man. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, going back to what we were originally talking about, let me get a real quick gauge in where you guys are at, right? Let me get a real quick gauge in where you guys are at. Let me ask you, put one word in the chat below, and it's going to be win or pick, right? Win means you want the Cardinals to win, obviously. Pick means you want the Cardinals to lose because you want that damn draft pick. Let me know in the chat below right now. Let me know in the chat below, what do you want the Arizona Cardinals to do in Week 18? Win, just one word, or pick? Win, pick. Win, pick. Let me know in the chat below. We do got a super chat to go ahead and end us off while we wait for everybody to come through and let us know where you guys are at in Week 18. And we're going to be diving into Week 18 here pretty soon as well. not in this podcast, but moving forward in the podcast moving later on in the week. So we got a couple super chats coming in here. Let me know. Win, pick. That's it. That's all I want to see. Win or pick. Let me know in the chat. We got Adrian in the chat saying Malik is taller than Kyler Murray and cheaper. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I want to bring some competition in because you also got to think about it. Are they a cheaper option or they're going to put you behind a couple years, right? So, yes, he is taller than K1 for sure. We do got another super sticker coming our way from Back to the Constitution. What's up, brother, man? Thank you so very much. I now learned that I'm not supposed to read these, right? Because when I read it, I sound absolute crazy. So thank you so very much, Back to the Constitution, for the super sticker. I absolutely appreciate the $3 donation. All right, let's listen to what people are saying here in the chat. I asked you guys, win or pick, right? Pick means the draft pick, or win means you want them to win. All right, so far we are seeing, it's pretty freaking split. No, actually, we're seeing a lot more wins. We're seeing a lot more wins here. All right, I see you. Okay, there's a few picks on the chat. All right. But for the most part, win. All right. Well, let's end this season off with a bang, ladies and gentlemen. Let's end the season off with a bang. Let's see if the Arizona Cardinals can finish off the season with 8 wins. Fingers crossed. Let's see exactly what happens here. Because like I said before, you're not going to fall anywhere. Like, your range is going to be 11 to 17. Like, that's where you're going to be picking. Whether whoever wins or whoever loses, that's going to be the range you're going to be picking. So, all right. Cardinal fans have spoke. They want to win. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and close up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button on your way out. Everybody that's, donated, subscribed, or smacked the like button, thank you, everybody, in advance for obviously providing that level of, I guess, commitment or just like being engaged in the chat, right? Just overall in general. Thank you all. But let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign up bonus on their first deposit and a 125% sign up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for tuning in. We will be closing up shop. Another happy Christmas Eve, my goodness. Happy New Year's Eve. Please stay safe out there. Please don't do anything silly or dumb. Go back to your families the next day and everything will work out beautifully. I promise you. I ain't gonna do anything. I'm too darn old to do anything. But happy New Year's Eve. Hopefully you guys' New Year resolutions all work out for you in the following year. See you in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you everybody for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.